everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I'm super excited. Before we get started, I wanted to understand who's in the crowd. So how many designers we have in this room? Okay, and how many product managers? Yay. And analytics people? Yes. And researchers? Maybe some, yeah. All right, so we're all in the same team, I would say. We want to make great user experiences. And hopefully my journey and my story will resonate with you. And I think we all share this common feeling, itchy feeling, that not everything we design or build actually reaches the customers. They not sometimes even discover the things we are building. And you know, I'm on a mission to change that typically. So I'll try to unpack this title of the presentation in just a second. So I'm Kuba, I'm a senior growth PM. What this means is I'm trying to connect the different growth loops, connecting acquisition of the users, their activation, retention, monetization. And for over a decade, I've been passionate about all things growth. And when I could and I saw I'm building some features, I was actually trying not to do that and instead help those existing features to live their good life. I had a pleasure to run a growth team for 2 years at Zendesk, a customer experience company, and now I'm helping out Mixmax. So what Mixmax is a tool that helps sales teams automate their outreach, reaching out to customers, track engagement with those prospects, so seeing whether they open their email or click the link, and make it extremely easy to book more meetings with their prospects directly from inbox. So a little bit of historical background about Mixmax. It's a more than 10 years old company. It originated with being very user-centric. It grew a lot through viral loops, word of mouth, etc. They reached a certain point of revenue. They raised another round of investment with a premise they will build out a second leg of revenue coming from sales. So they were set up to build a sales team, and their further growth journey began. Now, Mixmax was at some kind of an inflection point, and I want to talk about that. So, but before I jump into that, I wanted to really explain what is the sales-led model and what is the product-led model. So think about it this way. In traditional sales-led model, sales team acquires customers. They demo the product, explain the value, show the offer, and the customer, based on trust with the sales representative, decides to purchase a product. Only then they start engaging with the product and realizing whether there's value in it or not. If there is, they will further expand. The product-led model is quite different. Typically, users sign up for the product or service themselves. They start using the product, test it out. If they like it, they buy it, and then they expand. Now, I'm not to say that sales-led model is bad. Product-led model, product team, yay, let's do only product-led model. All of these models have their good placement. So for example, if you're an enterprise company, there's a long implementation process of your service of solution, probably you're best with sales-led model. If it's super easy to try and buy your product and people can implement themselves within hours, then you should bet on product-led model. There's also a mix where those two can coexist. When product-led model feeds the sales-led model, then it's a kind of a hybrid where users that started using the product can become so-called product-qualified leads, which means that they are really engaged and sales team can start talking with them and maybe expand. So when I joined Mixmax, Mixmax was in a phase where it felt like it over-indexed on sales-led growth. The symptoms were the following. The team was building for the loudest requests and not the biggest impact. The largest SMB customer segment, that was like the largest part of the customer base of Mixmax, was underserved by sales by nature, and sign-ups stagnated, revenue plateaued. So this is like a I guess, typical picture representing feature factory, and it a little bit felt like that for like last few years at Mixmax. So basically, whoever was shouting, we were building things. So I have an anecdote. I went to our Slack channel of feature announcements from 3 years ago, and there was like a huge clap over a functionality that was called something like synchronize Salesforce campaign members to Mixmax. Everyone was super happy about it. Teams spent weeks on it. So I've checked the data. 34 users till today ever used that, and Mixmax has thousands of users. So it was like pretty dramatic. However, we have smart leadership, thankfully, and they realized this no longer worked, and they had to go back to basic. Get to the right users to the right value faster. So they installed a growth-minded, like product-led growth-minded leadership. We have now amazing head of revenue that I'm partnering with. We have amazing marketing leader. We have a great, basically, whole operating team that is focused on growth, and they hired me as a PM to run this team. So when I joined, the problem was that actually in the company, not many people knew who exactly are those right users, what is this right value, and what faster means. The differences of opinions were like great. So what I've started with is I partnered with our head of revenue, and we wanted to define ideal customer profile. So who is really this good customer, how the good looks like. And we identified, I won't read that all, but basically we defined a couple of parameters that were describing most converting, most retaining, and most happy users in our customer base. This information helped then marketing to change and rethink positioning and messaging, helped us to rethink our onboarding, to just message to the right people, and forget for a moment about all non-ideal customer profile users. And lastly, it created this common understanding in the company of who are we serving. So that was first win. The second thing, something I love to think about in all the products is to define what is the setup and aha moment in the user's journey. If you're not familiar with the term, setup moment is the required thing for the user to do before they can even see the value of the product. So for example, in some sales chats you can see on websites, the user needs to install a snippet on the website to even see the value of the chat. So that's kind of a setup moment. Or in other cases, you need to integrate with your CRM or your email. And the aha moment is when user really realizes the value of the product for the first time. So this mega spreadsheet is like my attempt to just brainstorm with the team what they think setup moment is, what is the aha moment, and what it is per different user roles. And you can see here there's a lot, and product cannot operate like this to cater to all those hypotheses. So we had to simplify. So we aligned with leadership eventually on defining tier 1 setup moments and tier 1 aha moments, and those secondary moments in customer journey that are less important for now. Once we had the list, we didn't trust ourselves, so we were ready to validate, and actually we've nominated 2 simple definitions. So for setup moment, in our case, it was installing Chrome extension that was opening the door for using Mixmax straight from the inbox. And then aha moment was to send an email with calendar enhancement. Calendar enhancement, in other words, is a link to your calendar page that you're putting inside of your email, or an interactive widget where you can select a slot when someone is available. And we've checked the data. And the data correlated strongly with conversion to paid that gave us the mandate to continue working on this hypothesis. So this chart is pretty cool. So it shows us trial to paid conversion by the moments reached within 14 days. So this little fellow is the conversion of a signed up user to paid user when they never reached any of these moments. When they reached setup moment but never reached aha moment, it's already big. It's amazing. And when they reach 2 moments, setup and aha, I cannot jump enough, right, to see how big of the conversion that is. So that was an amazing signal for us. So then we thought how to make it work faster for the users, how to deliver this value faster. So of course, the first candidate is to rework the onboarding to reduce time to value. We ran multiple experiments to increase number of haha users. We had many flops on on this journey. So for example, we thought, actually our main navigation is just a pile of randomly put areas of the product that we were just appending when the new features were developed. There was no structure to it. So we thought, let's surface up those areas that are triggering or helping the aha moment, and it will for sure rise the conversion of signed up users to aha users. We couldn't be more wrong. The lift was not that big. However, it helped existing users to visit more often the areas they were already using. So really small win and not in the direction we wanted. The other obvious candidate for improvements is build an onboarding checklist. In our case, we called it Onboarding Hub. That was a full page with tasks to perform by the user that they should take action on. However, at that time, we didn't have really an engine to make it for the users so they can really try the experience or see it. They could only start setting up calendar. So still, it was not there. It helped us later. I will talk about successful experiments in a second as well. The third thing we've started was a continuous discovery process, something that was discussed in all the lectures beforehand, that research is so important. So now we are talking with customers that are starting with the journey, understanding what they are hoping to accomplish, and in continuous way, we are uncovering those nuggets that inform further development. So just quickly wanted to show some examples. They are probably random to you, but just to show you some strange things that sometimes work, because they are experiments, we never know. So one of the things that are specific to Mixmax is in order for you to sign up, you need to sign up with Google. When you do that, we can modify your signature. So the moment someone signed up, we were appending this little link, book a meeting with me, to the signature of the user. Thankfully, majority of the users kept the link, and not only that, they've started on their own adding and trying to use this fellow to start adding their own custom links. And this is that custom link is the only thing we were counting towards aha moment, not this one. So this thing dragged all the usage for the regular usage of the functionality. So that was pretty cool. The other example where we wanted to let users try and not tell about all the amazing features we have was to give them a quick option during initial onboarding to just send a test email. And what we did, we prepared a visual showing what to expect, and then we redirect them to Gmail. We inserted the draft with the same picture where they can interact with the solution and quickly realize, oh, this is what it is about. And this was also based on onboarding calls we had with customers. When we were showing this to them, this was their aha moment. They were raising their brows and saying, oh, you can do that as well? That's amazing. So that was our trigger. So it was pretty damn good because the aha moment was pretty low. It was below 5% of the users that signed up, so dramatic number. And we could reach the new plateau at around 15% within 3 months of experimentation on many different initiatives. So I'm still not satisfied with that number. We want to rise it, but it's already like more than 3x better. Since then, self-serve new customer MRR started growing again, so no longer in this stagnation period, and we are now set up for more sustainable growth. So wanted to share like maybe some tips, what you can apply. So surface value earlier, like really it has to pain, to create pain in your head if you can make it even earlier in customer journey to show the value. Talk to customers and overshare those insights internally among the whole company so that the company tissue understands customer problems at day and night. Of course, build for impact and not non-ideal customer profile exceptions, not the loudest specific enterprise customer. It's very hard to not do when there are millions at stake. But as product managers and designers, we need to be responsible and show the other possible outcomes or scenarios. Base decisions on data and not opinions. I used to be a data-driven maniac in a sense that I had to understand every little data point until I made decision. Now I'm more data-informed. So if I have the data, I'm living with it and making some calls and experimentations, and I'm making sure the next time I will have more data. And also what was very critical for the company is that there was like 100% leadership buy-in to build a growth team. It cannot be an afterthought. You cannot just try as a 1 PM to run one experiment, maybe in a quarter. You have to have commitment so that leadership understand you can fail multiple times, and sometimes you will win. And then the whole company wins. So yeah, to me personally, growth function as a growth PM is a very ambiguous skill. You are failing a lot, you feel bad about it, it's super hard, but when you're winning, it's like so rewarding. It's so great when you see the numbers after like one experiment and 1 month later, you see the impact on the revenue results. That's amazing. So if you're thinking about the transition or you're thinking how to have this or start with this growth mindset, or want to share just your growth experiences, like hit me up, I'll be somewhere there for a moment, or find me on LinkedIn. Before I finish, we're hiring, so we are a remote-only company. Majority of engineering and product and design teams are in Europe. We're pretty good folks, nice people, so if you're thinking about joining, like, let me know. We are looking for staff product managers and staff product designers. And thank you. Oh, right, sorry. I hope I delivered value to the right users, the right value to the right users faster, because we are 15 minutes. And in the go, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jakub, for sharing your story. It was inspiring and insightful. Now I'm opening the floor for questions, and it might be beneficial that we have some extra time for some extra questions. Just raise your hand, and I'll be there with a mic. All right.
Hi. Could you describe how your team is composed and how you started? It was one growth PM, one engineer, or how to start with growth team?
So initially, back when I was at Zendesk, maybe let's start with that. We had a mandate to have 2 or 3 engineers at the start. I think we started with 2, and we had some supporting designer and a PM. So not really much. And analytics function was a centralized, thing for us to understand the data, but I was the data person anyway, so I could dig up the numbers and speak with customers and stuff like that. So you can really start small. Here at Mixmax, we actually already started with 3 or 4 engineers. We had a backed product designer, but we don't have analytics function. That was all me. So yeah. So you can really start small, but there needs to be this whole team necessary to ship a product. Because otherwise, if you need to ask for resources all the time, like you won't get this pace and speed of experimentation you want. Thanks.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Do you have any tips and tricks when it comes to how to convince the salespeople that moving from sales-led organization into the product-led organization is gonna actually benefit all of us? Because that is the tricky part, I think, right?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So this can be super hard unless you come with them with open hands and open heart, I would say, and they do the same. So how it works is to first build an empathy between, let's say, us and them, and actually stop talking about this like that, like we are all one company. And actually, when product is smoother, the sales demo is smoother. When product is smoother, the conversation in the sales funnel is shorter. So you can find those connection points on how product changes, activation changes, and so on, can bring the whole team, to work and get more of it. Also, I cannot lie that what helps is having like-minded leadership on the revenue side, because then it unlocks all the other wave of thinking. So as I mentioned, like, our revenue leader doesn't think in a sense like, hey, how can we just sell more? They are thinking how can we hire product to deliver us great leads, because they engaged through this easy-to-use product. Now we can pick up those customers and have a broader conversations of, hey, bring your next team to our product, or perhaps we can help you out with this and that, and engage you more, so in the future you will expand. So there's like mutual benefit between the two. I think it just requires this, making it visible to everyone and painting the right picture. Yeah.
Thanks, Kuba, for the talk. It was super interesting. You've mentioned buy-in from leadership a couple of times. Was it something that you and your team were building, or was it there before your arrival? How did you approach that, and how did you, show the value of this approach?
It's such a good and hard question. So at Zendesk, actually, I had to build this buy-in a little bit, and this was like a, I think, 5-year-old journey to show up with every functionality, how activating those functions matter, where the leadership could actually sponsor the team for a longer period of time. At Mixmax, it was slightly easier because the decision was made up front before I joined that the hiring needs to happen for a product growth manager. The team was not yet fully formed, but when I jumped in, what was the most important was to start explaining what this role even will be, because people didn't know, oh, this person will do growth, whatever this growth is, like, but what is that? So I had to, do my share of slides with all the leadership, do my share of slides with the team, explain to engineering managers that I want the right developers in my team that are okay with digging into old code and optimizing things here and there, and maybe not the most complex architectural challenges in the world, but I promise they will have this rush of accomplishment when we will see results. And we have like pretty stable growth team right now because we had like mindful choices about who joins the team. Hopefully that answers.
My question is, where is the right moment in the company's life cycle to start the actual growth? Because, I don't know, hopefully you said about 2 companies, one that appointed you as the growth PM, then the second one that already knew that they wanted you to be one. what is the right moment when you know that the company needs this? Because I know that there may be a stop in the revenues and so on, so I wanted to know from your first-hand experience.
Yeah, such a hard question. Thank you for that. But yeah, how I think about it is that initially, where you're a very early stage startup, you don't need a growth team. Like you are in a constant mode of listening to customers and finding the right product market fit. And when you start growing, that's a great moment, and you need to continue build out. Make sure your organization, you have other problems. When you reach certain level of ARR and you're like, okay, you're there for 5 years, you're there for 10 years, you have a substantial amount of revenue, then you should ask yourself whether there is a chance that the growth team will actually pay itself out, right? So there will be an ROI in next 2-3 years if the results are there. So it's like a, let's say, napkin math kind of decision, I think, for leadership, when it's the right moment. Sometimes you might be too early, but still you will build a nice muscle in the company for when it grows more. And sometimes it feels like it's almost too late, because wherever you look, none of the features are used by the users. So I think the sweet spot is, some area after 10 million ARR or around that.
Okay, so you don't think that a growth team would even go with a really fast, engaging startup, meaning that if you have the growth really skyrocketing, and you can take more of the cake in that moment of time because someone pointed out that you're not doing it 100% optimally?
I think you might risk you will be over-optimizing at that point because you are growing like crazy anyway. And many of the function of the growth team is around optimization. Some of it is about creating new viral loops and about monetization decisions where you overhaul your whole pricing. That's a large project, but typically at the start you don't need that. And you can also, what is I think important is that in your early stage startup, you have those growth-minded PMs anyway, so they do care about activation and not just shipping, and like thinking about this whole journey of the user.